All right, let's talk about investing. But we're going to cut through all the noise, all the hype you see online. We're not chasing the next hot stock or some super complex strategy. Nope. Instead, we're going to build a simple 5-rule playbook that you can use to invest calmly, consistently, no matter what the market is doing. Let's get into it.
And this right here, this is the absolute truth. You know that feeling, right? That pit in your stomach when you see some stock going to the moon without you? That's FOMO. Fear of missing out. Or what about hidden fees just eating away at your money? Or that constant, nagging urge to just tinker with your portfolio? These are the real enemies. It's not about being a genius. It's about conquering these impulses.
So our goal today is to build a fortress against these enemies. Think of it like a personal constitution, a set of 5 rules designed to protect you from your own worst impulses so you can just focus on building wealth step by step.
So how do we do that? The solution is to build a system, an automatic system, one that basically runs on its own without needing your emotional input every 5 minutes. The first 2 rules we're going to cover, they're the bedrock of this entire approach.
These 2 steps are the foundation. First, we make investing automatic, like a bill you pay to your future self. It just happens. Second, we build in safety and efficiency right from the get-go. So let's break them down.
And that brings us right to rule number 1. Automate and pay yourself first. This is so simple but so powerful. Just set up a recurring transfer from your bank account to your investment account every payday. Boom. It doesn't even have to be a huge amount. The magic here is the consistency. By making it automatic, you rip emotion right out of the equation. Wealth is built by consistently showing up, not by trying to be a genius every once in a while.
All right, on to rule number 2, and it starts with a word you've probably heard a million times, diversification. The idea is just beautiful in its simplicity. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Seriously, that's it. It is the single best safety measure you have, making sure that if one of your investments goes totally wrong, it doesn't sink your entire ship.
And here's the other half of rule 2, and man is it important. Keep your costs low. Here's why you have to obsess over this. The returns you might get? Totally uncertain. Nobody knows the future. But the fees you pay? Oh, those are a guaranteed loss. A 1% fee sounds tiny, but trust me, over decades it can devour a massive chunk of your money. You have to focus on what you can actually control, and fees are right at the top of that list.
Okay, that's the theory. But how do you actually do this? Well, a really great method is called the core and satellite approach. Think of it this way. The vast majority of your money, your core, goes into something super broad, diversified, and low cost. That's your stable foundation. Then, if you want to take a few swings on individual stocks, you use a much smaller portion of your money for those, your satellites. This way, your foundation is protected, but you still have a little room to experiment safely.
Okay, so you've built your system. The machine is running. Now for the really hard part, leaving it alone. The next rules are all about your behavior. It's about how to stay calm and actually stick to your plan when the market inevitably goes on a wild ride. Which leads us perfectly into rule number 3. Time in the market always beats timing the market. The data on this is just overwhelming. Nobody, and I mean nobody, can reliably guess the market's tops and bottoms. It's a fool's errand. The real money, the real wealth, is made by simply staying invested through the good times and the bad. Trying to jump in and out is a game you're almost guaranteed to lose. And look, to really help you stay in the market, you have to get this next idea in your head. It's a huge mental shift. Volatility feels scary, right? That's the up and down price swings we see every day. But that's not the same as risk. True risk is the chance you lose your money permanently. A diversified portfolio can handle volatility. It's just turbulence. A bad, super concentrated bet, now that creates real, permanent risk.
And this might just be the most powerful rule of them all for managing that risk. Rule 4. Position sizing is your ultimate risk control. This means your most important decision happens before you even click buy. By deciding upfront how much money you'll put into any single investment, you control how much you can possibly lose from the very beginning.
So what does that actually look like? Let's make it super simple. You could set a personal rule for yourself. No single stock will ever be more than 5% of my entire portfolio. That's it. Now think about it. Even if that company goes to zero, a complete disaster, you've only lost 5% of your total capital. You can survive that. You can recover. This is how you stay in the game.
You know, there's this working theory, and I have to say it is so true.
When you hear those horror stories about people losing everything in the market, it's almost never because they picked one bad stock. It's because they bet the entire farm on that one bad stock. They didn't have a stock picking problem, they had a position sizing problem, and it cost them everything.
So, we have our system, we have our behavioral rules, but how do we actually stick to them when we're feeling panicked or greedy or just plain emotional? That's where our final rule comes in. This is the glue that holds the whole thing together.
Rule number 5. Write it all down on a single page. This is basically a contract you make with your future self. You write this plan when you're calm, when you're rational, when you can think clearly. Its one and only job is to be your guide when you're stressed out and tempted to do something really, really dumb.
And look, this doesn't need to be some 50-page legal document. Keep it simple. What's your goal and timeline? What's your core strategy, like that core and satellite idea? How often are you contributing? What are your risk rules, like that max 5% position size? And finally, what are your kill switches?
So what's a kill switch? Think of it as your pre-planned escape hatch. It's an objective, black and white rule that tells you when it's time to sell. This completely removes the agonizing emotional debate. For example, you might decide, if a company has a major accounting scandal, I sell. Period. No questions asked. Your calm self makes the rule, so your panicked self just has to follow it.
Okay, so let's tie this all together. Here is our 5-rule playbook recapped. Number 1, automate your investing. Take emotion out of it. Number 2, diversify and be obsessed with low costs. Number 3, stay invested. Time in the market is what counts. Number 4, control your risk with strict position sizing. And number 5, put it all in writing on a one-page plan to keep yourself honest.
And really, at the end of the day, this is the question that matters most. Anyone can build a good plan, that's the easy part. The real challenge, and where real success comes from, is having the discipline to actually follow the brilliant rules that your calm, rational self set for you. So can you do it? Can you trust the plan you made?